Tristan, I want to be a social genius. I think all of our audience wants to be a social genius, and we're going to try to help you become a social genius because today we're going to talk about some personal strategies. We're going to talk about how Zuckerberg has zero human skills, and we're also going to talk about the one form of advertising that many of you are pulling out of that you shouldn't be. But you're going to have to wait to listen to that one. So let's start with our good friend and loyal listener, Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg. All right, here's the title. Mark Zuckerberg defends Metaverse development after online backlash. So you've got to see this. He's got, I mean, you've been on the Metaverse, right?
Yes.
I think it flows well, but a lot of people are saying, well, how much did you spend on the Metaverse for it to still not have the lower portion of my body and for it to still look kind of hokey and cartoony, right? Mm-hmm. And he's saying, well, you know, that's okay, but here's their exact words. Hold on, it was he made me laugh when I read it. I was like, no way, dude, no way. He said that, hey, it's not that bad. It's actually really good. You guys just don't understand it. I'm like, dude, that, you know what that shows? A lack of just understanding that other people's opinions about your product actually matter, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's going around saying, hey, you guys are wrong, I'm right, that just shows you, like, is this even going to work? Like, is the metaverse is Zuckerberg going to allow the metaverse to work?
Well,
that's my question.
My opinion is that he just doesn't have very good communication skills. I think people are passing judgment with very little experience behind it. They're just looking at the basics and, you know, internet tough guys, you know, keyboard warriors, and they want to bash. I think Zuckerberg's smarter than all of us, everybody listening to this, including the bashers. I do agree with some of the visuals they've shared, but then again, you look at some of the other visuals from this article, even the one that's got the picture where it's got like the awning. You're going to show it, not that one. That's the primitive one. But if you scroll down further, there's like a patio, right? Keep going further. That's good too. But go further right there. Like that is an advanced looking, like when you look at that, and if I saw that in the metaverse, I'd feel like I was on someone's patio.
That looks beautiful, dude.
In Greece, right?
Oh, hell yes. But the thing is, we're right here.
Yeah, that looks like, what did they say? They said, look.
So Kevin Roos says, it's genuinely puzzling that Meta spent more than 10 billion on VR last year, and the graphics in its flagship app still look worse than a 2008 Wii game. I was like, that's so true. That is so true. But look, we live in a world where everybody's judging, and that's my concern. Are people going to give it enough of a chance for it to get and evolve to the next stages? Because people shut things down fast now.
Yeah, and more so now because everybody has a voice that you didn't have before. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I put my faith in. I do believe he's, you know, and I'm sorry to say this, Mark, as you're listening, as I know you are. You know, you are kind of an idiot when it comes to you know, interpersonal skills, and probably articulating what you're thinking, because I think what you are thinking is you're all a bunch of idiots and I know what I'm doing and this is going to take over the world. And he's probably right.
Yeah, I agree. But he just has to be more human about it, right?
Yeah, which he's never going to be good at that. It's Bill Gates was never good at that. I don't think what's his name? I don't think Dell was good at that. I don't think you go on the list. I mean, go on the list of the computer whiz nerds that.
Yeah, you know who was good at that though? Steve Jobs.
Jobs was on my list. Was he though? I mean, I thought he was always a little. He
was good at presenting. He was really good at saying, "Hey, this is where we're going. This is what we've done to to connect the future to the present, right? And then he'd put Apple right in the middle of it. So
I think the key word is he got good at presenting. And I think he was good at presenting because he was talking his nerd speak and he was passionate about it. So it's easy for him. But I think if he was more around during this new age of social media, I think he would have struggled to communicate like Zuckerberg, because I just don't think it's their forte. That's not what they're great at.
I don't know. I think
Elon's the same way to a degree. Elon's gotten better at it. Twitter's made Elon good at it, but he's he's think of Elon's kind of weird. I mean, you got to be weird to be able to do what you do,
Does that mean we need to be more weird?
Yeah, well, it depends. I don't think those people really genuinely like other humans by and large. And
all right, interesting.
Yeah.
No comment there. Let's shift over then. You know what? On that though, think about the storytelling aspect of this. Like, look at where Facebook could be if they would just have a leader that tells better stories that connect their product to an audience that's just waiting for something like this. But it's already buried with mistrust because of the fiasco Facebook has done over the last few years. But still, with something new like the metaverse, they're just waiting for the right story, man. That's the tough part for me to watch and just be like, damn, you suck at telling stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but so do most. I mean, people just struggle to let people in on their daily lives. I mean, you know the feeling. Yeah. I'm one of the few that doesn't struggle with that. In fact, I kind of embrace it and love it because I feel like people like that side of things. But I really truly believe if more CEOs of companies would basically allow their social media to be kind of a backstage pass to their lives, I think it would do wonders for their product and their business and employee morale, because people just like to get to know people. And part of the problem is people struggle with the side. You do that. Let's just say you do that and you stick to it for a year. 90%, maybe more of the feedback is going to be insanely positive. But there's that 10%, 0 to 10% that really bothers us. And it's those assholes that just get under our skin and then we struggle. And then before we know it, I'm off Facebook, I'm off Instagram, I'm never going back. And it's like, dude, like really, if you analyze all of your content, it was all positive. There's just those one or two assholes. Don't let them bother you so much. And I think that's the problem with why people struggle with that strategy.
Dude, I agree with you. All right. Enough about that. I've got something sexy for you that I didn't tell you about.
Oh, gosh.
You ready?
I'm bracing myself.
All right. Google. Google announced last week. I was looking for their article and they announced on the 18th that they're changing their search engine. So it's going to work a little differently. And that's pretty big news. I'm trying to look for the article now. I found the Social Media Today article, but that didn't go in depth like the other one. Here's what the title is. Google announces new search updates, which will put more emphasis on content depth. And I'm like, whoa. And here's how they explain it. This is directly from Google. This is word for word. I found it. It says, for example, if you search for information about a new movie, you might have previously seen articles that aggregated reviews from other sites without adding perspectives beyond what's available elsewhere. This isn't very helpful if you're expecting to read something new. With this update, you'll see more results with unique, authentic information, so you're more likely to read something you haven't seen before. How awesome is that, dude? That to me is really cool.
Yeah, can you try to articulate that in layman's terms about what you think that means?
Yeah, so here's the problem I think they're targeting. A lot of companies, media companies, would, for instance, just grab things from Twitter or, like they said, movie reviews. And when they would just compile them, title them, compile them. And then that would be the article, right? So then they would get eyeballs and you would search it and be like, oh, this is relevant. This is cool. Title, title, title. What they're saying is that's not going to rank as high anymore if that information doesn't come with deeper information about each of those pictures or each of that information. So for instance, you and I have, what do we have? Drunk on Social. We've got, let me log in right now so I can see it. We've got our blog site. It's called 100 Proof Blogs, right?
Mhm.
And I'm taking a look at it. And this is a perfect example because I was reading it this morning. Miggs wrote one about the map to creating your own content calendar. And first of all, great job, Miggs. He just grabbed the information from SEMrush.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have just grabbed that, took a picture, put a title on it, and done. But no, he actually took time to write all of this new content on the top. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then he reused their 14 things. And then he summarized it with a conclusion. That's what Google is going to reward more, in comparison to people just putting shit up that just duplicated from somewhere else and then piecing it together. Because Google's like, hey, we don't want you to piece shit together. We do that all day. We want you to give original content and advice. In your own words. You got it. That's it.
Yeah, and then linking back, which is really easy, but at the same token, and by the way, let me just go ahead and stack on there and say how pretty cool we are. Then we also take that same blog article, put it into a script, and then shoot a video, which is also multiplying our reach because some like to read, some like to watch. And that's what you're really shooting for. So my question to you is this. I'm listening to this. A lot of our audience is real estate professionals, but there might be some other business owners out there. If they're thinking to themselves, all right, yeah, how in the hell am I going to be able to build this into my day? I'm already so busy. How seriously am I supposed to execute this?
Yeah, I think that's where you either have to decide to hire a virtual assistant of your own that has the experience. You can either hire us to do it for you. We have a team that does that, or you can do it on your own too. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes blocked time to be able to do this. And I think the right mindset. Jeff, you and I have interviewed a lot of people, and when we're talking in big rooms, we realize that the challenge most of the time is just the mindset. It's like, I can't do that. Or where do I start? I just don't believe I actually have the time. And when we break it down into, hey, it really only takes 2 hours a week to do this well and consistently, I think people just need to understand that it actually takes that block time for you to write down, do the research, and then, like Jeff said, turn it around, read it, and now you have video content.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So it's a mindset issue. It always comes down to a mindset issue.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I guess it's a pretty good shift into our other conversation too, which is like, for example, I'm 2 weeks. Last time I batch recorded content was 2 weeks ago, and which means I'm due, and I've got probably about 20 scripts lined out, and my day, as usual, gets away from me. I be reactive. I'm responding to emails. I'm working, and guess what'll happen? Like it does every time. I'll do my family thing, put the family to bed, and I'll come back down to my office at 9 or 10 o'clock, and I'll have quiet, and I will batch shoot 20 videos. And this is not rocket science, folks. Like, this is just discipline. It's just desire to want to do it. And you got to figure that part of it out, because that's a lot of times what it takes. Or in Tristan's case, oftentimes I know it because we talk so much. It's like, I can usually sense when he's blocking time, basically just saying no to everyone because he needs to make the time to do what he has to do. And that's what it takes. That's the reality. And I appreciate that, even though when you're the receiver, it pisses you off sometimes, but hey, we all
it's only making us better. So
it is. Yeah. I mean, that's the fine line that's another conversation for another day. The fine line of saying no and learning to say no. It's tricky. It's tricky as hell, to be honest with you.
So true, man. So true. So what are you focusing on right now in shifting to the latter half of 2022?
Yeah, good. So we've been talking a lot about this offline. And so for those of you listening, Tristan and I probably talk daily, and sometimes we go at it all day long. And one of the conversations we've been having recently was it came from our social genius mastermind in Santa Barbara, which was back in mid-August. And, we met London, and London brought his what is his creative, what's his title?
Creative director.
Yeah. And that was a surprise. we didn't know he was coming. And then the
Massive.
first thing we asked was like, so what do you do? And then we got down to the kind of the brass tacks, and he was explaining that really he's kind of London's not just creative. So he's not just conceiving ideas. He's putting the research in behind, putting the time in to plan it out. Is it conceivable? Like he was just shooting videos where he was playing Fortnite on the top of a mountain and in the middle of a lake and things like that. And they're seeing probably if there's internet service, and there's all these different things that go behind the scenes. But he's the idea guy. He's an accountability partner. He's all of these things. He's probably doing the planning. And he and I recognize that, gosh, we need this. And the evolution of this thought process for me was, as I'm starting to gain a lot of traction, I'm gaining traction both on Instagram and on TikTok. Like I've kind of sat stale for a while, and now all of a sudden I'm driving again, and I'm realizing, okay, why am I doing this? So I'm analyzing it, and we all know it's Lake of the Ozarks on TikTok. So now I'm thinking to myself, gosh, now opportunities are starting to come, albeit small. Like I got a free drone, and I had a real estate agent reach out, and dude, I got a good buddy of mine who's selling his house for $4 million. He just hired an agent, and he's giving him till the end of December. The guy made a YouTube video. He sends it to me. He says, what do you think? And I'm like, it's nice. It's a typical real estate video. And I said, now let me show you what I did that last time I was over at your house and I was just messing around, and I put it on TikTok. It's got 133,000 views. And I said, in all seriousness to my buddy, I said, I'm going to come back over to your house before Labor Day. I'm going to shoot about 4 or 5 more videos, and I'm going to intentionally try to sell your house. I'm going to intentionally try to get you a buyer just to test. I'm not going to charge you anything for this, but if I bring a buyer to you, I want you to take care of me. And he says, of course I will, because you're going to save me money on the buy side, of course. And I said, I really just want to do this as a test. And so it just got me thinking of the possibilities, but it also got me thinking that like this niche content's driving my growth. So now I'm thinking I need to develop multiple channels on TikTok. I'm confusing my audience. I'm confusing the algorithm, and it's still working. So imagine if I go niche down and I shift the Jeff Pfitzer channel to all Ozarks, and then create a new channel that's all about social media news and tips like I always create. And then I create another channel that Tristan and I want to do that's all about real estate and mortgage related. And so it's very niche down topics. We're already creating the content, but now let's create specific channels for it. Honestly, why we didn't do this earlier, I don't know why. And I think it's just because we're constantly testing. Right.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And I think that's a perfect example of what other people listening need to do also, right? Keep on testing because you don't even know what your audience likes yet. Trust me, if London, who's got 9 million TikTok followers, is always trying to figure out what his audience is liking next, then you have no clue. That's just it. You don't, and neither do we. So just keep on adapting and keep on growing. Yeah. And what did he say he's focusing on now primarily?
Well, I know what his current project is, which is the Fortnite sub thing.
YouTube, long form.
Oh, yeah. That was his other recent posts. Yes.
Yeah. So I know we mentioned it last time, but you think of where things live the longest, where people can go back and search for things, it's YouTube. So you've got to have a YouTube strategy as well. Like, what is your YouTube strategy? What is it? Especially now with Jeff, with Google announcing this whole aspect that says, hey, we're going to reward in-depth writing. Like, how does that looks even better for me on YouTube. My descriptions on YouTube are going to be even deeper, especially if I'm doing what I normally do, which is let me break down the media for you and give you my take on what's happening with the housing market.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a lot of opportunities here. I think the challenge for us is focusing on what we're going to tackle on next. That really is the challenge.
Yeah.
Like, where do we start? Where do we go?
And then scaling the team to be able to facilitate it without driving ourselves fruit. I mean, I think that's part of the issue there. And I didn't even tell you this. Maybe I did. Maybe it's through text, but for our audience to listen in, for those who are in the real estate field. So my thought process then is if I can own a market, so I'm going to try to own the Ozarks as a non-real estate agent. I want to own the market. And here's what I think the byproduct is going to be. I'm going to end up aligning with a real estate agent who wants me to help them create content because I own the market. I own the eyeballs. I'm going to drive buyers because I'll create content around properties. But in addition to that, while I'm doing boating and I'm promoting restaurants and I'm just doing it, I'm just living my life and documenting what's happening. And if I own that market, not only is it going to probably create real estate opportunities, but it's also probably going to create some other collaborations with restaurants, with business owners who say, damn, dude, you post videos and 1 out of 3 gets 100,000 plus views. Man, you could sell my damn product. Right. And that's just this revelation of, damn, I got to go all in on this. And I don't know what it's going to create. And that's the fun part about this conversation is, a year from now, maybe 6 months from now, we're gonna probably keep talking about this, and we're gonna give an update and say, oh, how's it going? And it makes me feel like it's like something that you need to create a channel that's dedicated to 1 or 2 of the topics that you're most passionate about, and just lean into it. And
tacos.
I was thinking technology.
I know. Damn it. I know. It started with T. That's why I thought of tacos.
That's good. That's good. Or journals. Yeah. Journals, of course. Yeah. Or you could also do Star Wars type, not Star Wars, but the Marvel characters or whatever.
Geeky, nerdy shit.
You said it.
I mean, look, I've got Stitch. And I've got the little Totoro character there. So
you do. You're sitting by the window right now.
Maybe you're right.
So we can't see all the other nerdy stuff back on the other shelves.
All right. Last thing for you before we jump off. I have a question for you. What channels are you contemplating starting? What do they look like? Give me specifics.
Say that again.
What channels are you contemplating starting?
So on TikTok, it's going to be, I guess that's where it's all going to start. So it's going to be, of course, Ozarks, and I'm just going to continue on my main channel. Now, the tricky part is this. I know I have an audience that follows my social news and tips. So I'm going to create TikTok videos saying, just letting you know, this is all moving over here. I'm also going to be cross promoting the new channels on Instagram and Facebook. But so then there's going to be one that's all about social news. It's probably going to be some Pfitzer Media is probably what it'll be. And it's all going to be my social news, my business tips, my video tips, that sort of thing. That's all I'm going to create on that channel. And then we're going to create one. My vision is, people always loved the term mortgage whisperer. So I thought, let's make it the real estate and mortgage whisperer, because, we need to have a dedicated channel to that, because we have such a big audience, and you've already got miles of content, a lot of it that's evergreen, that we can just cross post over there. And then we'll just continue to post stuff over there. And it's the same concept. I mean, I'm going to build a loyal audience with social stuff. I'm going to build a loyal audience with real estate and mortgage. I'm going to build a loyal audience on Ozarks and whatever else. I don't know where else I'm going to go with this.
I love that.
But
that's a really good idea, man. And I think you let the audience determine which channel you're going to put more attention to. We already know which one, but still, what's the second channel, right? What's the second channel?
Well, so here's my thinking. I think I have a better chance of actually gaining value. And you look at a guy like Austin Armstrong, who does kind of similar to what we do, but kind of different. And he's exploded, and it's all very niche down on tips and
one topic.
That's it. And so the algorithm knows exactly what he is and who to show it to. And essentially that's what we're going to be testing. Now we're going to be testing that.
You know who says that too? Daryl Eves in the book I'm reading, YouTube Formula. He says, don't confuse the algorithm. Figure out what you want to do and just stick to that one thing. That's
I guess the hardest part, and what we should talk about in the next episode is now let's take this topic and now say, okay, let's talk about how to apply it maybe on Instagram, because I'm not going to apply that on Instagram or YouTube. More specifically,
I'm going to apply it to YouTube. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I need to split my content into two: the news for real estate, and then the information for real estate agents that I continually put out, like how do you follow up, lead generation, right? Expireds, all that, because it's getting confused. The only argument, and I think we should end it here, and we'll talk about it next week. The only argument I have is that's what playlists are for. Yeah, but still, I can see the algorithm getting confused.
We're going to talk more about this next week.
I love it, dude.
Stay
All right.
tuned.
See you on 77.
77.